I've helped a lot of buyers purchase homes in Seattle, and I keep seeing the same 6 mistakes over and over from people who did their research and still got surprised. If you're buying in Seattle in the next 6 months, this list is for you. Here are the 6 things, and I'll tell you up front, number 4 is one that catches people most off guard. Even buyers who have done everything right tune in to number 4. Item number 1, assuming the list price is the purchase price. So the first one, a lot of buyers, especially from markets in the South or maybe the Midwest where homes sell at or below the list price, come to Seattle expecting that the listed price on the MLS or on Zillow is the starting point for negotiation. In Seattle, depending on the neighborhood and the property and the type, condo, single family home, townhome, the listed price is often the floor, not the ceiling. During competitive periods, especially, well-prepared homes in desirable areas like West Seattle or Ballard or Capitol Hill can get multiple offers over the listed price. That doesn't mean every home goes for over list. Right now, with inventory coming up, there are a lot more opportunities to negotiate, especially on homes that have been sitting or have condition issues. And we see this as well with condos and townhomes right now in the market. But you need to go in understanding the local dynamic, not assuming you can come in at 95% and expect a counteroffer. Your agent should be pulling comparable sales, not list prices, sold prices for the specific neighborhood that you're offering in before you even write an offer. Number 2 is underestimating what needs work. Seattle has a lot of beautiful older houses. 1920s craftsmen, 1950 mid-century ranchers are amazing, and this 1970 colonials, they're incredible. They're charming, and they often have deferred maintenance that doesn't show up in all of the listing photos. So here's the thing. A seller disclosure in Washington state is required, but sellers aren't obligated to have every system inspected before listing. They disclose what they know. What they don't know, they don't have to disclose, or they can say, I don't know. I've been in homes where the listing looked clean, the disclosure looked pretty reasonable, the answers were good, and the inspection came back with a failed furnace, a roof with 2 years left on it, and evidence of past water intrusion in a crawl space. Those 3 separate items could add up to $40,000 in just the near term in work that you would have to do. So never skip the inspection, never. If a general home inspector calls it out, make sure to investigate further. Item 3, falling in love before checking the HOA. This is the one that hits condo buyers. You find a place you love, great location, maybe you have a view, great light, reasonable price per square foot, and you fall in love with it before you've looked through all of the homeowners association or HOA documents. Here's what I look at before any client of mine makes an offer on a condo. 1, the monthly dues, and whether they've had a special assessment in the last 3 years. 2, the reserve study, specifically the reserve study fund percentage. There are a lot of condos that are underfunded. Anything below 70% funding can be a yellow flag depending on how the HOA is taking care of that. Below 50% or even lower can often be a red flag. 3, the last 12 months of meeting minutes. I'm looking for mentions of litigation, deferred maintenance, or any pending large projects that could be a special assessment. You're legally entitled to these documents in Washington. The seller has to provide them, so review them before you fall in love, not after. And sometimes that means after you're in contract, you get those documents. Number 4 is the one I mentioned at the top. I've seen this catch buyers who did everything else right. Choosing the neighborhood before you choose the commute. Buyers pick a neighborhood based on how it feels on a Saturday afternoon, and then they move in, start commuting to work on a Tuesday morning, and discover that the neighborhood they loved on a sunny weekend is 45 minutes from their office in traffic at 8 a.m. Seattle's topography and the layout of I-5 and 520 going across the water mean that a 9-mile commute, which should be short, could be 45 minutes or more. A 12-mile commute can be over an hour easily. And this is not an exaggeration. And it doesn't show up in a lot of the lifestyle content you find on YouTube. Before you fall in love with any neighborhood in Seattle, check the commute on Google Maps at 8:15 a.m. on Tuesday, not Sunday morning, Tuesday at 8:15. Then check, is there a light rail option or maybe a bus? Seattle's light rail network has expanded significantly. And if your office is near one of the new light rail stations, your commute math could change completely just based on that. And so does which neighborhood makes sense to buy in. Drop a comment if this one, number 4, surprised you. I'm curious whether it's common knowledge or not. Okay, item 5 is waiting for rates to drop. Look, I understand the logic. Rates are higher than they were a few years ago. Everyone's waiting for them to come back down. The problem is that waiting for rates has been the plan for buyers in this market for going on about 3 years now. Here's what's happened to the buyers who waited. Home prices in desirable Seattle neighborhoods have continued to appreciate, to go up. The buyers who purchased 2 years ago at a higher rate and were able to refinance when the rates dipped or plan to refinance have more equity today than if they'd waited. Now, this is not a just buy no matter what argument. Your financial situation matters the most. Your timeline matters, but the idea that rates will return to below 3 or below 4 and prices will stay flat while that happens, that is not a realistic expectation in this market. Rates coming down or improvements will create buying surges. When rates drop, more buyers enter the market at the same time, competition goes way up and prices go up with it. The lower rates get partially offset by higher prices. So sometimes it's a wash. You have to do the math on which home you're looking at. Number 6 is working with an agent who doesn't specialize in relocation. The last one, and I'll be transparent that this one is self-serving, but it's also true. Buying in a city you don't live in yet is different from buying locally. You need an agent who understands what out-of-market buyers need, which is not just access to listings, but context. Why this neighborhood over the one for how you actually live your life? What these neighborhoods feel like on a Tuesday versus a Saturday? What the negotiation norms are in this market specifically? A lot of buyers get connected to the first Seattle agent who calls them back from Zillow. That agent may be excellent. They may also have never worked with someone from out of state before and may not know which questions to ask or what context to give you. Just make sure that you ask any agent you're considering, how many relocation buyers have you worked with in the last 12 months? What's your process for helping someone who doesn't know the city? If you don't get a specific answer to that, that's an answer for you. If you're buying in Seattle in the next 3 months, your pre-approval should already be done. If it's not, that's your first move this week. And if you're even 30 days from your move, now is the time to start neighborhood research and make sure you go deep on that, not after you land in Seattle and start looking. If you're 90 days or more out, you've got time to really do this correctly, and you should use it. If you're thinking about buying in Seattle and you're not sure which of these you might be walking into, I help buyers work through this all the time. My contact information is below. And honestly, before you make any move in this market, there's one more thing you should understand. It's in this playlist. It's the piece most buyers miss, and it can change the math on where you buy. Check it out here.